Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone 13 officially came out a couple months ago. We finally got to do a speed comparison between them. So let me go and clear out all the apps in the background. Now, these are both on iOS 15.2, which is the latest version of software right now. So let's get into it. I did a full comparison between them. Now let's specifically look at the speed. The iPhone 10 is right here. The iPhone 13 is right here. Let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, pretty much the same thing. Let's do music, 3, 2, 1. And 13 definitely faster there. The iPhone 10 a little bit behind. Usually doesn't take that long. Now, kind of scrolling through these gestures, I did notice that the iPhone 10 did glitch up a little bit there. Nothing crazy though. We'll kind of test that a little bit thoroughly. Clock, 3, 2, 1. I think the 13 was faster there. Let's go and do mail, 3, 2, 1. I think the 13 again was the faster one there. Hopping out of this one. Let's go and do news, 3, 2. Don't have it here. Let's do App Store, 3, 2, 1. And the 13 again is the faster one. iPhone 10 a little bit behind, definitely nothing crazy. Swiping through here, you can kind of see my voice kind of cracked there a little bit. Not that big of a difference, I can't really tell. Pretty much the same thing in my opinion. Let's go and load it to the camera app, 3, 2, 1. And even today, the camera app is faster on something like the iPhone 13. Now, I don't think there's night mode on the iPhone 10, so that's why it's going to take longer for us to take a photo there. So let's hop out of this one. Let's do podcast, 3, 2, 1. And again, 13 faster, iPhone 10 a little bit behind. We're not noticing crazy big differences, but consistently the 13 has been the faster one every single time, which is really, really good to see. Now, as always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications that we can use on both. So let's get into it. Let's go and do Facebook, 3, 2, and I guess I don't even have that app. Let's do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. 13 again is faster. iPhone 10 a little bit behind. Let's go and do Stack, 3, 2, 1. And 13 is faster. iPhone 10 a little bit behind again. Getting into some gameplay, let's see. And I'm not expecting there to be any glitches between both, but this is a basic game, we might as well get it tested. Pretty much the same thing, hopping out of this one. Let's go ahead and get into Paper IO 2, which I didn't think I would have here either. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 is a faster one there. iPhone 10 a little bit behind. You can see pretty much the same exact thing. I don't really think it's that big of a difference here that I can tell, but I'm pretty much getting the same exact vibe between both. They're pretty much the same thing. Let's go and do Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 13 is faster, iPhone 10 a little bit slower. Let's go and do Snapchat, which I'm logged in here, so it's going to be a little bit of a difference, but I screwed it up anyway, so let's go and hop out of this one. We'll load it up in the background. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And again, the 13 is faster. iPhone 10 a little bit behind, nothing super crazy. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And you can kind of see that again, the iPhone 13 was a much faster device in this specific test than the iPhone 10. I wasn't expecting there to be this big of a difference between these two games, but you can tell not only was it faster, but it was much smoother too. There's a lot of glitch frames going on the iPhone 10 right there. And you can see eventually we do get into it. Now I do want to play a game, so 3, 2, 1, and I want to see if it's glitchier on one or the other. Now, of course, the iPhone 10 is not going to be that well, and pretty much, it glitched up in the beginning but it kind of evened out a little bit later. So let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 was faster there. Let's go and load up this one. Let's go to Thank You, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13, again, much faster than the iPhone 10. So we are seeing a consistent winner here, which is really good to see. We're pretty much guaranteed at this point that the iPhone 10 is slower than the iPhone 13, which is expected. There are about 4 years of difference between these two. The iPhone 10 came out in 2017. The iPhone 13 just came out. So I'm really, glad to see these types of differences. Again, I don't want the iPhone that's older to be faster by any means. Calculator, 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. I don't want the older iPhone to be faster than the newer one. We need to be able to get into a point where the faster ones are consistently faster every single time. Comparing the previous generations to these ones, there's some differences here and there, but I'll definitely tell you, for the most part, the iPhone 13 is the consistent faster one. News, 3, 2, 1. Now, I am going to get into the RAM management portion, but I wanted to test out a few more apps just for the basis of this test. You can see the iPhone 13 much faster than the iPhone 10 there, and you're going to be noticing that every single time you load up an app for the most part. Files, 3, 2, 1. There we go. I don't even know why this loaded up in the internet. Hopping out of this one. Let's go and go into Watch app, 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 13, faster one there as well. So now let's get into the RAM management portion. So let's go back to basically to the beginning app, the first app that came out. Now the iPhone 10 has 1 GB less than the iPhone 13. So the 13 has 4 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 10 has 3 gigs of RAM. So let's go and load up into this one, 3, 2, 1. Okay, both kept that one up in the background, which is really, really good. And I scrolled out of one app on here. I think it was Dropbox. So let me go and load up Dropbox once more. So I don't know which application it was, but regardless, let's go back in the beginning with. Let's go back into music. So let's do this one, 3, 2, 1. And both were able to keep that in the background as well, which is really good to see. Let's go back in the beginning with once more. Let's go and load up here. And let's do clock, 3, 2, 1. And both are doing a pretty good job at keeping all these apps in the background. I was not expecting the iPhone 10 to do this well. I was expecting it to kind of mess up here and there. Let's do mail, 3, 2, 1. And it did glitch up a little bit when you loaded it up, but it was pretty much fine for the most part, which is a really good thing to see. Now let's go back into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. And both are doing a great job here too, which is really, really good to see. But it does look like when you try to load into these specific applications, there's a little bit of a difference, but nothing crazy. Now, I've noticed that the craziest times pretty much happen and the biggest resets happen when you load up into the games. So let me go and load up into the camera. Let's get this one out of the way. Pretty much the same thing. Now let's go and load up into, let's do something like Stack. So I do think because there wasn't like a crazy amount of apps that we tested, we're probably not going to see that big of a difference. And they both restarted. So that's typical what I was expecting. Whenever we have an older phone like this and a newer phone like this, it's always interesting to see which ones restart first. It looks like they both restarted at the same time. So you can't really give too much credit either way because it seems like they both kind of had the same thing going on. So we'll go and test Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And they're both restarting. So I will definitely tell you the smoother experience was definitely for the iPhone 13. If we load up into this game, you can probably tell that there's probably going to be maybe more glitches on the iPhone 10. I've noticed that some glitches happen in the beginning with and they don't happen again. So not a big difference there. If we go ahead and load back up into Temple Run 2, for example, so let's go and load up this one, you can see that the iPhone 10 actually did restart this specific game. The iPhone 13 was able to keep this game in the background. The 10 did restart. So that was another big thing. Like I mentioned, for a lot of these bigger games, it's almost, the applications like Dropbox, Quizlet, Facebook, those are going to be fine for the most part. It's not until you get into these games like this, that's when you start to see bigger differences between them. So I will definitely tell you, if you're planning on playing big games in the background and you want to make sure you have as much, you want to make sure that, the games don't crash in the background, you definitely want to go for something like an iPhone 13. But at that point, I would recommend going up to the 13 Pro because even the 13 isn't crazy good at RAM management, in my opinion. Now we can try something like Snapchat, which is pretty much just still going to be in the background. I would try Clash of Clans, but we don't have it here. We can try something like Netflix, which we've already tried, and pretty much the same thing too. So overall, what I can tell you is that for sure, the iPhone 13 is overall the better performing device. This device is definitely going to be the one you want to pick up if you want the best type of performance. However, the iPhone 10 has done a great job at performance so far. It's definitely not perfect, but it's been a pretty decent experience, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of it too. If you have an iPhone 10, going to the 13, you're probably going to see some differences in terms of speed, but it's not going to be as crazy big of a difference as you may have expected. I think the iPhone 13 is better in pretty much every single way, but the iPhone 10 is pretty much right behind it in some areas. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up for the most part. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.